That we can start. So good evening, everyone. I welcome you to the daily webinar session. Today, we are learning about nariyal, that is coconut, as we know. So now I shall hand over the platform to Dr. Kumar. So it's all yours, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Swati. I welcome you all for a webinar series of understanding medicinal plants. Today, let us learn about Cocos nucifera, which is our coconut. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ವಂದನೆಗಳು. ನಮ್ಮ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಈ ದಿನ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಏನು ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಹತ್ವ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದ ಮಹತ್ವ ಏನು, ಉಪಯೋಗಗಳೇನು, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಯಾವ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಿರು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. So botanically, this drug is called as Cocos nucifera, belongs to the family Aracaceae. And the Sanskrit, it is called as Narikela. Then in English, it is called as coconut. In Hindi, Nariyal, Marathi, Naral, Telugu, Kobbari Chettu, and Kannada, it is called as Tenginakai. Why? Because I'm using some of the South Indian languages, then as well as Sanskrit basis for our Ayurveda. Then English is a common language across. Then the Kannada, the local name. So when we understand coconut, it's as a culinary, ingredient in all our South Indian recipes, to say as a food. And there is a, Kannada proverb to say, Hingu Tengu is very responsible to have a better food in, South Indian context. To say on that, yes, of course, it is a culinary ingredient, but beyond that, a lot of medicinal values been attributed to this plant, to say. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ದಿನ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮ್ಮ ಏನು ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಅದರ So Ayurveda as a traditional system of medicine documented around 60 Sanskrit names for coconut or narikela. That means wider the record or wider the documentation, then we can see wider the application. That is what we need to understand. When 60 names has been documented in Sanskrit, that means wider the application of the drug. So the exact meaning of the word narikela to understand means which has flowers and fruits with long tendrils. You can see when we see the fruiting nature or flowering nature of the plant, there will be plenty of tendrils which depicts the Sanskrit root meaning of the drug narikela. And important synonyms, as already mentioned in my earlier classes, what is the importance of understanding synonyms? Synonyms help us to understand morphological characters, that means identification of the plants, then for its action, where all, how it's going to function, then application, that is indications. Under that, we can see three important synonyms of the plant. One is Tungadruma. That means the fruit contains kshira. When we harvest a fresh fruit of coconut, then we can see plenty of kshira from that. That is milk. Then narikeli, that means it is used literally, in some of the fermented liquors, coconut, as one of the ingredient. So it is called as narikeli. And toya garba, that means the fruit is filled with water, containing water in the fruit. So it clearly helps us to understand the morphological understanding and the preparations made out of the plant narikela, which is botanically Cocos nucifera. Okay, next slide. Swati, are you there? Swati?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was presenting.
Okay, I think she is the one monitoring.
Sir, am I audible?
Session. Swati?
Sir, am I audible?
Next slide, ma. Next slide. So before that, we'll try to understand.
Sir, am I audible? Sir, am I audible?
You are audible, Swati.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We are not able to see the presentation. Share the presentation.
Is it visible now, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
But you have gone ahead of the slide. You just come back one slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can see 13 different types of coconuts that grow around the world. It's not only India. You go to any southeastern countries, you can find plenty of coconut trees. And when you go to Caribbeans, you can see plenty of coconuts. That means islands you can find. And apart from that, Southeast Asian countries, you can find coconut. Under that, 13 different varieties for, as food and as well as also medicine. So under that, you can see Malayan yellow dwarf coconut, and which is commonly found in Thailand, Brazil, and Fiji. Then Fiji dwarf, very particularly very famous in Sri Lanka. Then West Coast tail coconut, which can find in Caribbeans, and then Makapono coconut, which is very common in Thailand and other eastern countries. Next slide. So we can find Panama, tall and East Coast tall, then dwarf orange, green dwarf, and Tiptur tall is very common for Indian context. And we have, and VHC1 coconut is also very common in India. And apart from that, Mayapan coconut. That means these are the 13 varieties of coconut. How, it differ from each other to say, yes, genetically same, phenotypically, different species we can find having different characters, but all look similar, maybe size varying, and as well as, color varying, and, morphological characters of the plant also vary. Some of the plants, yield fruits after few years, but now with the hybrid technology, yes. And what are the parts used when we understand the medicinal plant coconut? The parts used are fruit, flowers, and root. Fruit is the major one. Then comes the flower and the root. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಭಾಗ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಔಷಧಿ ಸಸ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಸರಿಯಾದ ಭಾಗನ ನಾವು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆಗೆ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆ ಅದು ಫಲಕಾರಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ಫಲ ನೀಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್, flower, and root. Why I'm telling fruit? From the fruit we are going to get oil. Okay. So as Ayurveda, we need to understand the medicinal plant through Ayurveda lens. Then Rasa Panchaka comes first in that. ಸೊ ಏನ್ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ರಸ, ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಗುಣ ಏನಿದೆ, ವೀರ್ಯ ವಿಪಾಕ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ರಸ, ಮಧುರ ರಸ, ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಇನ್ ನೇಚರ್. ದೆನ್ ಗುಣ, it is guru and snigdha. That means it is heavy and oiliness because of the oil source. Coconut is one of the important source for oil. Then cold in nature. Then vipaka, madura. That means it is having all the component of rasapanchaka for anabolic action. Anabolic means which increase weight, or which decrease the metabolic process, which we call it as anabolic. Then ದೋಷಜ್ಞತ, ಯಾವ ದೋಷಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈಸ್ ವಾತ ಪಿತ್ತ ಹರ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈಸ್ ವಾತ ಅಂಡ್ ಪಿತ್ತ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಡಿಸೀಸ್, ವಾತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಾತ ನ್ಯೂರೋಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಪಿತ್ತ ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಕ್ ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈ ಪಿತ್ತ. That doesn't mean that it increases kapha. Always we need to understand action. First and foremost, it is balya. That means energetic. Brumaniya, which can increase the bulk of an individual. Basti Shodhana, that means it cleanses the urinary bladder. Trishna Nigrahana, it can relieve the thirst. Jwaragna, very good antipyretic, it can take away fever. Hridya, good for heart. Mutrala, which acts as a diuretic, increase the production of the urine. Deepana, digestive. Rishya, that means it's good for reproductive disorder or it can increase the fertility. Rakta Pitta Nashaka, it can pacify bleeding disorders. Shramahara, it can relieve your exhaustion. Then Vata Roga Nashak, that means it's good for Vataja disease. That means neurological disorder. Rakta Shodhan, it can purify the blood. Wisdom B, that means it can lead to accumulation or it can block the channels. Kesha, good for hairs. Kandugna, it can, you know, Swati full slide ಮಾಡಿ.
Yes, sir. Full slide ಇದೆ.
Okay. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಉಪಯೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ವಾತ ಪಿತ್ತ, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾತ ಅಥವಾ ಪಿತ್ತ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಅಸ್ಥೇನಿಯಾ ಸ್ವಾತಿ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತೃಷ್ಣ, ಏನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬಾಯಾರಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಿವಾರಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ನ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಕ್ಷೀರ, ಏನು ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಕ್ಷೀರ ಇದೆ, ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್. ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಸಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಮೇಹ, ಡಯಾಬಿಟಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ದೌರ್ಬಲ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿಶಕ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಜ್ವರ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇರ್ ಫಾಲ್, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅರ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಟ್ ಆಮ್ಲಪಿತ್ತ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಸಿಡಿಟಿ, ಹೈಪರ್ ಅಸಿಡಿಟಿ ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಪೆಪ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಆ ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಆರ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಡೋಸು ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಕರ್ನಲ್, ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದು 10 to 20 grams ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಕ್ಷಾರ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಲ್ಕಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಓಲ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ with the external covering. We prepare alkali which is called as kshara, that is 1 to 2 gram. Okay, next slide.
Apologies, sir, for the
ಏನು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ?
Here it is raining heavily, sir.
ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಇದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಫ್ಲಕ್ಚುಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಹೌದು ಸರ್,
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಫೈಟೋಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಫೈಟೋಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಗಿಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ನಮಗೆ ರಾಸಾಯನಿಕ ಗಣಗಳಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಫೈಟೋ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಸೈಟೋಕೈನಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ವಿಟಾಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇನಾರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕೈನಿಟಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಗಿಬೆರ್ಲಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಬೇಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ನಮಗೆ ರಾಸಾಯನಿಕ ಅಂಶ ಇರುವಂತ ಔಷಧಿ ದ್ರವ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್, ಕೋಕೋಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಸಿಫೆರಾ. ಫಾರ್ಮಕಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿರೋದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಂಟಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್. ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಈಗ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜಿಂಗ್ ಅವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್. To overcome that, we need to have antioxidant, which are major from the source of fruits and vegetables, we call. So under that, so if you are coconut or coconut oil based preparation, pharmacological action proven andre cardioprotective, anti-nociceptive, anti-hyperglycemic, anti-ulcerogenic. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯೋಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆಂಟಿ-ನಾಸಿಸೆಪ್ಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪೇನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ನೆಸೆಸರಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಪೇನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕತ್ತೆ. ಆಂಟಿ-ಹೈಪರ್ಗ್ಲೈಸಿಮಿಕ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಗ್ಲೈಸಿಮಿಕ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಶುಗರ್, ಹುಣ್ಣು, ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಹುಣ್ಣಿದ್ರು ಹುಣ್ಣನ್ನ ನಿವಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ very specific to burn and wound healing. If you don't have anything at your home, just a pain or wound in the body, then it balances the electrolytes from the tender coconut. Then it is anti-thrombotic and anti-atherosclerotic. That means it takes away unnecessary fat, and it also clears the clot in the veins and arteries or systemic circulation. Then apart from that, it is antibacterial, it is anti-caries for the tooth. Like that, it goes antiviral, antifungal, anti-protozoal, and anti-cancer at last. Using coconut oil as oil base for our food recipes can prevent a lot of cancerous conditions in the body. And apart from that, it is stimulatory, and it as a part of our culinary preparations. Next slide. I hope you are all following, and kannadallu ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. ಅಂಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಥೆರಪಿಟಿಕ್ ಯೂಸಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಮನೆ ಮದ್ದಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಕೇಶ ರೋಗಸ್, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ oil is very much useful in any sort of hair problems, hair issues. It can be splitting of hair, thinning of hair, dry hair, or even the scalp issues. That coconut oil is one of the important oil base for hair oils. Then parinama shula, that means pain originated because of any issues or blockage in our intestines or in the stomach. We call it salt preparations made out of coconut, very much useful to manage the pain originating from our gastrointestinal. Powder made out of flowers along with the curd, it helps in any stone formation. It can be it can be renal stones, it will take away. Then shirashula, headache, coconut water is one of the important medicines to overcome, take away all the worms. When we take the root of coconut tree, powder it, and mix with asafoetida, that is our ingu, given as a decoction, helps in addressing worms or helminths. Then wounds, vrana, old coconut oil is having very much wound healing property, so it helps in addressing wounds. Kshayaja Shirashula. That means whenever we have debility, because of the debility, less nutrition in the body, water along with the sugar will help us to treat Kshayaja Shirashula. Then Chardi, vomiting, coconut water along with sugar, honey, and long pepper helps in addressing vomiting. So whenever you don't have anything at home, just take coconut water, you add sugar into it, 1 spoon, then add 1 spoon of honey, then you take quarter spoon of pippali, that is long pepper powder, then you give for as a drink. Then it prevents, or use along with the raw rice, then make a paste and apply locally on that, then it leads or it address our cracking of food. Then dadru, dandruff, kernel, that is oil prepared of the coconut, you know, it is used yeah, eczema like condition, it is applied externally, just a coconut oil. And also it is used in dandruff, which we advise, take a coconut oil and mix with the curd, apply to the scalp and leave it for 40 minutes, then it take away all the dandruff. Then daha, burning sensation across the finger. Secondary disease, apply coconut oil, that reduces the burning sensation. Then mukaroga, the disease related to the mouth, then what we have to make, just take a powder of coconut kernel, then mix with the ginger, then apply on oral to address the oral infections. Then skin diseases, as already I mentioned, it is good for skin. So whichever the disease you come across, if you don't have any medication, just apply coconut oil, that will take away. Then kushta, a chronic skin diseases, coconut shell, outer shell, make burn and extract oil from that along with the kernel, then that powder mix again with the coconut oil and apply on the lesions. That takes away or addresses chronic skin condition. Next slide. And apart from that, so far I was telling the matured coconut, including kernel of the coconut. But now let us see about tender coconut therapeutic application. In case of hyperacidity, severe gastritis, like vomiting like sensation, you don't have any medications, what to do? Then you just take tender coconut in empty stomach twice a daily, then it addresses hyperacidity. Kidney stone, someone who is suffering with the kidney stone, just take coconut water regularly, that as a diuretic action, it takes away the stone. Then wounds and ulcer or any burn, oil should be applied frequently. Then dehydration, tender coconut water should be given for any cause of dehydration. To say, it can be because of exhaustion, because of excessive excessive workouts in the gyms, or as a sports person, when you play lot, or someone who is in the field because of the work, then a lot of dehydration will happen. In such cases, what you have to do, take tender coconut regularly or frequently. It can hydrate your body with the electrolytes. Then hair fall, coconut oil processed with the methi powder applied. And why I'm telling, even tender coconut can be mixed with that coconut oil, then you can apply for hair fall. So it does the nutrition as well as protection. Then sunstroke, tender coconut should be given frequently for sunstrokes. So to say, tender coconut applications in hyperacidity, kidney stone, dehydration, and sunstroke, and tender coconut along with the coconut oil can be used in wounds, then as well as hair fall. So in animals, we are using particularly to say dermatitis. In dermatitis, wounds, foot and mouth lesions, we are using coconut oil as a base for our preparation of medicines. Next slide. I hope these are the classical preparations made out of coconut are few to say, but many are there. Common what we are using, Brumana Narikela Khanda, which helps in gaining weight. Chandana avaleha for cooling, for any burning sensation and, pitta related disorder. Eranda Paka, which is very good for gastrointestinal disorder. Then Imasagara Taila to cool the body. Then Kushtari Tailam for chronic skin lesions. Kushmanda Ka Avaleha, that means for increasing the weight or nutritive. Then Narikela Lavana for our peptic ulcer and gastritis. So, and few proprietary Ayurveda formulations to present in front of you all. So many are there. Any hair oil is made out of coconut and with the combination of gingerly. Then Trichup hair oil and capsules very commonly using in our day-to-day practices. Then Amlicure syrups and drops. Then hair. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ ಪ್ರಿಪರೇಷನ್ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಪ್ರೊಪ್ರೈಟರಿ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ ಪ್ರಿಪರೇಷನ್ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಔಷಧಿಯಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಔಷಧಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. So with this I close for today's presentation. So let me know if you have any queries so that I can answer. And as Swati mentioned, she is struggling with the internet connectivity in the center. So we'll discuss before she comes.
So that was the presentation last. So we ended with the slides.
Not to worry, need not to present again.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much.
If anyone is having any queries or the questions, you can ask me. But coconut is a very common herb we found in our kitchen. Plenty of applications as medicine as well as food. So we use regularly, but we may not be knowing much of the things to as first aid or primary addressing for primary health cares.
Why, sir, why is that we feel like urinating after the consumption of coconut water? It whether it is similar to the tea or coffee that we consume as it works as a diuretic?
No, it is more than that. Immediately what it does, it's a diuretic effect. That means it directly absorbs as fast as possible. Then it will, because it's a water content and the electrolytes directly, it will go to renal systems for its clearance. Once it enters the renal system, then it will put pressure as a diuretic effect through hormones. Then immediately you'll start feeling passing urination.
Sir, and it is also prescribed in the sense it is also suggested in from the ancient times that when we are on a Ekadashi or Upasam, they suggest to take tender coconut. So will that balance one day meal?
No, it will not balance. At least it will give energy through electrolytes so that you will not fall,
Okay.
That was the intention to say that, because a tender coconut is having rich electrolytes.
Okay.
Yeah, that suffice your energy for that moment.
Okay.
And that is instant energy like a glucose.
So this is prescribed under low BP conditions?
Madam?
Is this prescribed under low BP conditions, sir?
Yeah, but that will not be enough, but we need to add a pinch of salt and pinch of pepper into it so that it increases the blood pressure.
Okay, sir.
Along with the tender coconut.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So any questions from anybody? Vijay Patil ji, Akshat ji?
Okay, if no questions, thank you so much for being with us. Next week, we will continue with the next drug. Okay, see you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.